Court is in session. Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is in session. The court is in session. We have first three cases are cause number M331530, cause number M331918, and cause number M332622. All three cases are styled the state of Texas versus Desmond Traval Baltazar. Mr. Baltazar, would you please come forward? Mr. Baltazar, is your full name Desmond Traval Baltazar?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Baltazar, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Baltazar, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Baltazar, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Baltazar?
All right.
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking, Mr. Baltazar. You're here represented by your attorney, Benjamin Jeffries. Attorney Jeffries, how are you doing?
Doing well, Your Honor. Thank you.
You're welcome. And the state is represented in this case by Attorney Colby Hallpar. Attorney Hallpar, how are you doing?
Doing good, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Jeffries, do you waive a record in Mr. Baltazar's cases?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Baltazar, in cause number M331918, I have before me a document that is titled Information. This information alleges that on or about February 3rd of 2022, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed to Class B misdemeanor offense of criminal trespassing. Mr. Baltazar, do you understand what you have been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Mr. Baltazar, how do you plead guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Yes.
Now, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily? And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes.
Mr. Baltazar, I have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of this same document, Mr. Baltazar, there are a set of initials, DB, on a line next to a box that says check guilty. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
On the next page of the same document, there is a signature above the line that is titled defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
The next document is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes.
At the top of this document, there are two boxes that's checked. The first box says check states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that statement? The second box says check states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes, sir.
Do we have a discovery certification?
We do, sir. Got 2 pages, Your Honor, both of them.
Mr. Baltazar, I have before me a document that is titled Discovery Certification. Mr. Baltazar, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Baltazar, before you initialed and signed these documents that I just showed you, did your attorney, Mr. Jeffries, go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct
Yes,
to
sir.
the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Baltazar, are you a citizen of the United States? State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, would you like to offer State's Exhibit number 1?
Yes, John.
Any objections?
No objection, John.
No objection. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Jeffries, you've advised and counseled Mr. Baltazar. In this case, is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Baltazar, your attorney, Mr. Jeffries, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Baltazar, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
Yeah, in exchange for plea of guilty, the state agreed to recommend 120 days in Jefferson County Jail and court calls. This will run concurrent with the companion case, also part of this plea agreement. It dismissed the companion criminal trespass case.
Okay, now the 120 days to get credit for time
Tag
served.
time served and Paxton retired, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Baltazar, the state is offering that you serve 120 days in the Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not be required to serve any more time in the Jefferson County Jail on this case because you've already served 120 days in Jefferson County Jail. Therefore, you'll be given credit for the time that you've already served. The court cost in this case is $327, but you will not be required to pay the $327 court cost because the time that you have spent in jail has already paid it off. Therefore, the court costs will be taxed and retired. Mr. Baltazar, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Baltazar, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Baltazar, we will proceed with your next case. Your next case, Mr. Baltazar, is cause number M332622. And in that case, Mr. Baltazar, I also have before me a document that is titled Information. And in this information, Mr. Baltazar, the state alleges that you, Desmond Baltazar, on or about September 13th of 2020, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, operating a motor vehicle in a public place, that you committed to Class B misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated. Mr. Baltazar, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Mr. Baltazar, how do you plead guilty, not
Yes.
guilty, or no contest?
Plead guilty, sir.
Now you're pleading guilty freely and voluntarily,
Plead,
and are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
because I'm guilty.
Mr. Baltazar, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishments. Mr. Baltazar, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of the same document, there's signature, well, a set of initials, DB on the line next to a box that says check guilty. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir. I did.
On page 3 of this same document, there's a signature above the line that's titled defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
The next document is titled trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir. I did.
At the top of this document, there are 2 boxes that's checked. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes, sir.
Second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes, sir.
I also have before me a document that is titled discovery certification. You recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on this document?
Yes, sir. I did.
Now, Mr. Baltazar, before you sign and initial these documents, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir. I did.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
State I have before me states exhibit number 1, state you'd like to offer states 1.
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections? Mr. Jeffries?
No, Judge.
No objection, states exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Jeffries, you advising counsel, Mr. Baltazar, in this case as well, is there any evidence that he's currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
And Mr. Baltazar, your attorney, Mr. Jeffries, has advised and counseled you in this case. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Baltazar, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement in this
We do,
case?
Your Honor.
And what is that
The
agreement?
state's for plea of guilty or no contest, state's agreed to recommend 120 days in Jefferson County Jail, court costs. The defendant has credit for 120 days, but that's to be a time served judgment and to tax and retire the court costs. This will also like concurrent with the previous case, Your Honor, and also part of the plea agreement is to dismiss one of those criminal trespasses.
Okay.
All of that is to run together.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Baltazar, the state is offering that you serve 120 days in Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not be required to serve any more time in the Jefferson County Jail in this case because you've already served 120 days in Jefferson County Jail. Therefore, you'll be given credit for the time that you've already served. Court cost in this case is $457. However, you will not be required to pay the $457 court cost because the time that you spent in jail has already paid it off. This case will run concurrent with cause number M331918, and the state will be dismissing the companion case, cause number M331530. Mr. Baltazar, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Baltazar, I'll follow the plea bargains agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Baltazar, this will conclude your cases. If you do not have anything else holding you in jail, you should be getting out of jail today. You're gonna stand on the X next to your attorney, the X on the floor, and you're gonna follow the directions of our clerk, who is to my immediate right. Once you finish following her directions, you're gonna follow the bailiff,
Okay.
and you have a blessed day.
Just.
Thank you. Jefferson County Court of Law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session and calls number M329660. The case is style of State of Texas versus Claudia Aura Brown Mansour. Miss Brown Mansour, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Miss Brown Mansour, would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
You may put your hand down. How are you doing?
Fine.
That's good. Ms. Brown Mansour, you represented in your case by your attorney Joel Vasquez. Attorney Vasquez, how are you doing?
Good, John. How about you?
I'm doing fine. Mr. Vasquez, do you waive a record in Ms. Brown Mansour's case?
Yeah, sure.
Ms. Brown Mansour, I have before me a motion to revoke your probation.
Your Honor, I hate to interrupt you, but at this time, the state's gonna abandon allegation number 1, proceed only on allegation number 2.
Okay. Now, Ms. Mansour, in this motion, the state alleges that you, Claudia R. Brown Mansour, was tried on December 2nd of 2021 for the offense of criminal mischief, which is a Class A misdemeanor. And you was found guilty, and punishment was assessed at 90 days confinement in the Jefferson County Jail without a fine. Now, in this motion, the state is alleging there are 2 allegations. However, the state is abandoning allegation number 1. That means that they will only be proceeding on allegation number 2.
Yes.
And allegation number 2 alleges that you, Claudia R. Brown Mansour, failed to report to the Jefferson County Probation Office as ordered by the court on December 2nd, 2021, as directed in violation of condition 4 of your probation order. Is that true or not true?
Yes, sir.
It's true?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you have to say true. If
Yes,
it's-
sir.
It's true? Okay. Now, Ms. Mansour, are you pleading true to allegation number 2 freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading true because it is true?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Mansour, Brown Mansour, I have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishments. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of this same document, there are a set of initials. Well, I guess you wrote your name, Claudia, on the line that is titled MTRP true to allegation number 2. Did you write your name here?
Yes, sir.
On page 3 of the same document, there's a signature above the line that is titled defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
On the next document that's titled trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on this document?
Yes, sir.
At the top of this document, there are 2 boxes that's checked. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes, sir.
The second box that's checked states that you are waiving your right to an appeal, which means you are giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes, sir.
Now, Ms. Brown Mansour, before you signed and initialed these documents, did your attorney, Mr. Vasquez, go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Brown Mansour,
Yes, sir.
are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, sir.
Okay. State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, would you like to offer State's Exhibit number 1?
Yes, Your Honor, but quickly before I do that, we've got the state to offer and for the plea is 180. That's over what the time is. We're gonna amend that to 90 days, credit for 90 days. So with that amendment on there that we'll offer that.
Okay.
I'll
So,
offer the admonishments in the plea agreement, but the plea agreement will read. 90
okay, well, I
days.
hadn't gotten to the plea agreement.
Understand, I just want to make
Okay.
sure the court knows about that.
Yeah. Now, so you have no objections to State's Exhibit number 1?
No, I'm offering.
You offered no objections? Okay, no objections, State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Now, Mr. Vasquez, you advising counsel, Ms. Brown Mansur, is there any evidence that she is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
And Ms. Brown Mansur, your attorney, Mr. Vasquez is advising counsel you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Brown Mansur, I will accept your plea of truth to allegation number 2. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to revoke your probation, and your probation is hereby revoked. Now state, do we have a plea bargaining agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
And what is that
And
agreement?
it says it needs to be changed on the document, but in exchange for a plea of true to allegation number 2, the state agreed to recommend 90 days in Jefferson County Jail. Court calls, credit for 90 days, we'd ask this to be time served and to tax and retire the court calls. If we
Okay.
need to amend that on the tablet, we can do that.
Well, yeah, you just have to make the corrections
That's fine.
on the plea form. Yeah. Okay, now, Ms. Mansur, the change, you got credit for 180 days.
Yeah, just erase what not there on there.
Sorry. Thank you.
Okay, now, Ms. Mansur, the reason why they had to make the amendment is because you were initially sentenced to serve 90 days in the Jefferson County Jail, and it was probated for a period of 1 year. So they could not exceed the 90 days that you were initially given for your probation, okay? So that's why the state is now offering 90 days, and you'll be given credit for the time that you've already served because you've already served 90 days. The court cost in this case is $57. However, you will not be required to pay the $57 court cost because the time that you have spent in jail has already paid it off. Therefore, the court cost will be taxed and retired. Now, Ms. Brown Mansur, do you understand the state's offer?
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
And do you think that the state's offer is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Brown Mansur, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Should she have a seat?
Yes, did you change it to 90 days instead of 90?
Yeah, they had to make that change to 90.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, have her have a seat, please.
Okay. Ms. Brown Mansur, the court is going to follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Just have a seat, and when the court clerk is ready for you, she'll have you to come up.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Jefferson County Code Law number 2 is back in session. Court is in session and calls number 23 CCCR 0620. Case is styled the state of Texas versus Ophelia Marie Phillips. Ms. Phillips, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Phillips, would you please raise your right hand? Okay. Okay, just do the best you can. Ms. Phillips, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Phillips, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Ms. Phillips? You're blessed. It can't be better than being blessed. Now, Ms. Phillips, you're here represented by your attorney, Attorney Giles Cole. Attorney Cole, how are you doing?
Great, John. How about you, sir?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. And Mr. Cole, do you waive a record in Ms. Phillips' case?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Phillips, I have before me a document that is titled Information. This information was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. In this information, it alleged that you, Ophelia Marie Phillips, on or about January 10th of 2023, while you were in Jefferson County, were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class B misdemeanor offense of criminal trespass. Ms. Phillips, do you understand what you've been charged with? And do you, and how do you plead to this charge? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty.
Guilty. Now, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily? And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty? Ms. Phillips, I have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment. Do you recognize this document? And on page 2 of this same document, there's a set of initials OP that are on a line next to a box that says guilty. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 3 of the same document, there's a signature above the line that's titled Defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
And the next document is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. You recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes, sir.
At the top of this document, there are 2 boxes that are checked. First box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that statement? The second box that's checked states that you are waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that statement? Do we have a discovery certification?
Page 13, right there.
Yes. Ms. Phillips, I have before me a document that is titled Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Phillips, before you signed and initialed these documents, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything that he went over?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct
Yes,
to
sir.
the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Phillips, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, sir.
Ms. State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, would you like to offer State's Exhibit number 1 into evidence?
Yes, Your Honor.
No objection.
No objection. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted into evidence. Mr. Cole, you've advised and counseled Ms. Phillips. Is there any evidence that she is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
And Ms. Phillips, your attorney, Mr. Cole, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Phillips, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given.
Yes, sir.
And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Do your honor.
And what is that agreement?
Exchange for plea of guilty, no contest, state agree to recommend. This is Mr. Phillips, correct?
Yes,
State agree to recommend 28 days in Jefferson County Jail and court costs, credit for 28 days. Therefore, the time served judgment, but that's tax and retirement court costs.
okay, Ms. Phillips, the state is offering that you serve 28 days in Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to serve any more time in the Jefferson County Jail because you have already served 28 days in the Jefferson County Jail. Therefore, you'll be given credit for the time that you have already served. The court costs, in this case, will be taxed and retired. That simply means that you would not have to pay the court costs because the time that you have spent in jail has already paid it off. Therefore, the court costs will be taxed and retired. Now, Ms. Phillips, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Phillips, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Ms. Phillips, this will conclude your case. If you do not have anything else holding you in jail, you should be getting out of jail today. Please have a seat in the jury box. Yes, please have a seat in the jury box. And when the clerk is ready for you, she's going to ask you to come up to her window. Okay? All right. You have a blessed day.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. We have, is it Jacqueline Josephine Williams? Miss Williams, your full name is Jacqueline Josephine Williams?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Miss Williams, would you please raise your right hand? Miss Williams, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Miss Williams, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Miss Williams? I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Miss Williams, you're representing your case by your attorney, Attorney Giles Cole. Attorney Cole, do you waive a record in Miss Williams' case?
Yes, sir.
Miss Williams, I have before me a document. Hold on a minute. Yeah. Just making sure I didn't have anything else. Okay. Ms. Williams, I have before me a document that is titled information. This information was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. In this information that was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office, it alleges that you, let me see this now, Mr. Cole, you waiving a record in this case?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, Ms. Williams, in this information, it alleges that you, Jacqueline Josephine Williams, on or about March 31st of 2023, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated with an alcohol concentration level of 0.15 or more. Ms. Williams, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, how do you plead guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Yes, sir.
Now, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, Ms. Williams, I have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishments. Now, do you recognize this document? I think that I erased, there was a box here that was marked off that says DWI first. I erased that box because it is a DWI first. However, it is a Class A misdemeanor instead of a Class B misdemeanor. And the difference between the two, with a Class A misdemeanor is a higher punishment. A Class A misdemeanor, DWI minimum like all Class A's, is a minimum of 0 days to a maximum of 365 days in the Jefferson County Jail, a fine from $0 to $4,000, or he could be given both such fine and confinement. Do you understand the range of punishment for a Class A misdemeanor?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, on page 2 of this same document, there is a signature, a set of initials, JW, on the line next to a box that's checked guilty. Are these your initials? And did you place your initials on this document? On page 3 of this same document, there's a signature above the line that's titled defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
On the next document that's titled trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, do you recognize this document? And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
At the top of this document, there are 2 boxes that's checked. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes, sir.
And do we have a discovery certification in this case?
We can get some.
Okay, thank you. Now, Ms. Williams, I have before me a document that is titled Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Williams, before you signed and initialed all of these documents that I just showed you, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything that he went over?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Williams, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, sir.
State I have before me states exhibit number 1. State, would you like to offer states 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
No objection, states exhibit number 1 will be admitted into evidence. Mr. Cole, you've advised in counsel, Ms. Williams, is there any evidence that she is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Williams, your attorney, Mr. Cole, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Williams, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. I need to see, the court cost is not right here.
Okay, I will get back to you in just a second.
Okay,
What's, is this for Jacqueline Williams?
yeah, Jacqueline Williams. State, do we have a plea bargaining
We
agreement?
do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
State for plea of guilty, no contest, state degree recommend 30 days in Jefferson County Jail and court costs. She's got credit for 26 days.
Okay. Let's hold on a minute. We can even get the court costs. Jefferson County Code of Law number 2 is back in session. Court is in session and cause number 23 CCCR 0844. And in this case, Ms. Jacqueline Josephine Williams entered her plea of guilty. Attorney Mr. Cole waived the record in this case. Ms. Williams acknowledged that her signatures and initials was on State's Exhibit number 1. She also acknowledged that her signature was on the trial court certification to defendant's right of appeal. And she acknowledged that her signature was on the discovery certification. She also acknowledged that her attorney went over these documents with her. She read and understood everything that he went over. And everything in these documents was true and correct to the best of her knowledge. And I think she's also acknowledged that she is a citizen of the United States. And the state, in this case, State, could you repeat your offer?
Judge, in exchange for plea of guilty, state should recommend 30 days in Jefferson County Jail and court costs. She got 26 days credit.
Okay, now Miss Jacqueline Josephine Williams, the state is offering that you serve 30 days in Jefferson County Jail. You will receive credit for the 20 days, 26 days that you've already served, and any days that, and any other time that you're also entitled to get by law. The court cost in this case is $427. Will you be able to pay the $427 court cost? What did she say?
You have to pay it already.
Yes, today. Okay, so now Miss Williams, there's a document in front of you that's titled Jefferson County Affidavit of Indigence. Do you recognize that document? And did you have an opportunity to read that document? Now, on page 2 of that document, there's a signature above the line that is titled Defendant's Signature. Is that your signature? At the top?
Yes, sir.
Now, is everything in that document true and correct to the best of your knowledge? Is everything in the document that you just looked at? Okay,
But I don't know if I'm not the guy gonna go back home.
I don't know what she said.
She's not gonna have a job when she comes.
Okay. What I'm saying right now, everything in that document is true and correct to the best of your knowledge. So now, Ms. Williams, the state is going, well, the court is going to find that you're indigent. Based on that finding of indigency, the court costs in this case of $427 will be waived pursuant to Article 42.15 of the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure. What that simply means is that you will not be required to pay the court costs because the court is waiving the court costs based on the fact that you are indigent. Do you understand that? Okay, so Ms. Williams, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Williams, I'll follow the plea bargaining agreement that you have entered into with the state. Ms. Williams, this will conclude your case. You please have a seat in the jury box. Do you have the that affidavit? Is it still there? Yes. Thank you. You did. I don't have, do we have any paperwork on the other lady? I don't have her paperwork.
I have not had a chance to send anything.
Jefferson County Code at Law number 2 is back in session. Court is in session and calls number M313462-2. Case is style, the state of Texas versus Kimberly Olivet Duchesne. Ms. Duchesne, is that your full name? Okay, hold on, let me do something. Oh, man. Is there Jefferson County Code at Law number 2 is back in session. The code is in session and clause number M313462-2. Case is titled State of Texas versus Kimberly Olivet Duchesne. Ms. Duchesne, is that your full name? Ms. Duchesne, would you please raise your right hand? Ms. Duchesne, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Duchesne, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Ms. Duchesne?
Bless.
That's good. Can't not be better than being blessed. Ms. Duchesne. You representing your case by your attorney Giles Cole, Attorney Cole. Do you have a record in Ms. Duchesne's case?
Yes, we do, Your Honor.
Ms. Duchesne, I have before me a motion to revoke your probation. This motion was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. In this motion, it alleges that you, Kimberly Olivet Duchesne, was tried on November 5th of 2019 for the offense of Class B theft. You were found guilty and your punishment was assessed at 180 days confinement in the Jefferson County Jail, a fine of $500. In this motion, there are,
Your Honor, at this time, the state's gonna abandon allegation number 2, proceed only on allegations 1, 3, and 4.
okay. Ms. Duchesne, in this motion, there are 4 allegations. However, the state will be abandoning allegation number 2. And that what that simply means that they will be proceeding only on 3 of the allegations of the 4 allegations. Allegation number 1 alleges that you, Kimberly Olivet Duchesne, failed to report to the Jefferson County Probation Office as ordered by the court on February 10th of 2020, March 9th of 2020, April 13th of 2020, as directed in violation of condition 4 of your probation. Is that true or not true? Allegation number 3 alleges that you, Kimberly Olivet Duchesne, failed to immediately report to the probation office as your change of address or phone number as ordered by the court in violation of condition 11 of your probation order. Is that true or not true? Allegation number 4 alleges that you, Kimberly Olivet Duchesne, failed to perform community service hours required as ordered by the court in violation of condition 14 of your probation order. Is that true or not true? Ms. Duchesne, are you pleading true to allegations 1, 3, and 4 freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading true because they are true?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Duchesne, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea of Minors, was also labeled as State's Exhibit number 1. Do you recognize, let me do this here, we got this express through where it says Class B. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Now, on this document, it also has a box that's checked MTRP, and there's some writings up here saying,
State abandons the allegation number 2, Judge.
okay, state abandoned allegation number 2, MTRP. And on page, now on page 2 of this document, they had 2 boxes checked. They had guilty and MTRP. I'm gonna erase where it says guilty. And there's 1 box that's checked that says MTRP, true to allegations 1, 3, 4, and initials KD, and state abandons allegations 2. Now, did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 3 of the same allegation, there's a signature above the line that's titled defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
On the next document that's titled Trial Court Certification Defendant's Right of Appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on this document?
Yes, sir.
At the top of this document, there are 2 boxes that's checked. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And the second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, Miss Duchesne, before you signed and initialed these documents, did you read the documents?
Yes, sir.
And did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
Did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Dushan, I will, Ms. Dushan, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me states exhibit number one, state, you like to offer states one?
Yes, sir.
Any objections?
Okay.
No objection, states exhibit number one will be admitted. And Ms. Dushan, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Cole, you've advised in counsel. Ms. Dushan, is there any evidence that she is mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
And Mr. And Ms. Dushan, your attorney, Mr. Cole is advising counsel, are you satisfied with representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided fully effective and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Dushan, I will accept your plea of guilty.
Please
No.
true.
You plead true to allegations number 1, 3, and 4. And I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I also find that your plea waivers are freely and voluntarily given. I also find that there is sufficient evidence to revoke your probation, and your probation is hereby revoked. State, do we have a plea bargaining
We
agreement?
do, Your Honor.
What is that agreement?
States for plea of true on allegations 1, 3, and 4, states agreed to recommend 20 days in Jefferson County Jail. Court costs, this one, she has 20 days credit. This will be time served, Your Honor. We have to tax on trial.
Okay. Hey, Ms. Dushan, the state is offering that you serve 20 days in Jefferson County Jail. You will be given credit for the time that you've already served, 20 days, which means you would not have to serve any more time in Jefferson County Jail. In this case, the court costs in this case will be taxed and retired, which means that you would not be required to pay any court costs in this case. Ms. Dushan, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Dushan, I'll follow the plea bargaining agreement that you have entered into with the state. Ms. Dushan, this will conclude your case. If you do not have anything else holding you in jail today, you should be getting out today. And have a seat in the jury box. And when the court coordinator is ready for you, you'll be free to go. You have a blessed day.
Thank you, sir.
Let me, I need to see, I just,